Okay, we'll start the recording. Yesterday we discussed about the stuff subrecord and subpage. We placed the subpage on the main page, and we observed we can display the subpage in scroll and grid also. Now, one more delivered functionality I would like to show you. Here, whenever we are trying to add a new person, here you observe one thing. This is the page. Here you can add the biographical details of the person, name, format type, date of birth, everything. But whenever you're trying to add a name, you have to click on the push button. Observe carefully. Whenever I clicked on the push button, it is taking me to some other panel. It's a page which will display the details of the name, first name, last name, middle name, so. Once you enter the name, you can click on OK and you come back to this page. This is a page. I'm calling it as a page, but here you won't have any save options. But you are coming back to your original page. But you are accessing some fields with the help of a push button. That means if you have a point. Venkat, why don't we place all of the fields in the same page itself? Yes, we can. It will occupy more space. The design will be disturbed. And some of the times, non-required fields we can place like this. Then, what is this functionality? This functionality we can call it as secondary page. And we will cover with derived recorder. These two combinations. Yesterday we discussed about subrecorder and subpage. Today we will discuss about derived recorder and secondary page. Okay, our target is we have to create the same type of functionality in our page. Let us say in our page we have dependent ID, name, date of birth, gender, everything. Now I would like to capture the dependent relationship to the employee and what I can say, so dependent. Okay, I would like to display date of birth and dependent relationship both in a different page by using a push button. Why? Because dependent date of birth and dependent relationship are not mandatory for me. I would like to design a new push button here. Whenever I clicked on the push button, it should display in a secondary page. But one thing, the dependent relationship and date of birth both should store under which table? Dependent table. With respect to the dependent ID, you have to define the dependent relationship and date of birth. That means whatever the details you are adding, whatever the details you are entering in the secondary page, those details will store under a record. Now modify the dependent table. Here is the dependent table. Here I am adding the dependent table. Here I am adding a field relationship, which is a deliver field, which has translates. Here, sorry, if you open the translates values, here you can see child, employee, friend, spouse, grandparent, everything. All these are the relationship information defined by PeopleSoft. Okay, now we are using this field. Now, in the main page, I am removing the date of birth from the main page. Now I am creating a page, secondary page. Where we can define the secondary page? In the page properties, use tab. Have you observed one thing? Standard page, there is no OK and cancel options. Sub page, there is no OK and cancel. Whenever I selected a secondary page, OK and cancel options are enabled for a secondary page. Click on OK. Now add the details whatever you require, like relationship, date of birth. It's not a joining date, it's a date of birth. Date of birth. Add this as a GEE dependent secondary page. We successfully added it. Now, what I would like to see here, a push button. Push button is just a button, it won't be a database field. It won't be a database field. Then what we have to do here, we have to place a push button with the help of derived record. With the help of derived record. Venkat, how we will create a derived record? Before that, we will create a field to use it as a push button field. Here, it is not storing anything, then one character is also enough for me. GEE dependent button. Okay. Dependent additional details, something like this. Otherwise, something here, let's say. Additional details. Okay, now just save it as GEE dependent button. We are done. Now, create a record. Create a record with field dependent button. Record type is derived record. Whenever I select the derived record, build option is gone. Save it. GEE for this project, it's a work record. Employee work record. We are done. Now go to the page. Double click here, insert push button. Simply insert push button. Double click the push button. Observe carefully. Here you can make it as a push button or a hyperlink, both. What is your destination? Destination means whenever you click down the push button, what you are expecting. I am expecting it should open a secondary page. Whenever I selected the secondary page, at the bottom you see the secondary page option is open. Then add your secondary page name. Dependent secondary. This is our page. Secondary page name. Record name. Yes, it's my work record. EMP work record. Field name. Dependent. Go to the label. Why? Because as of now there is no label design for this push button. Go to the label. By default, push button will go for an image. Now, my push button label should be a text in this scenario. What text? Additional details. Label type is text. Label size is custom. That means I would like to expand the push button. Why? Because this size of push button won't display this much of length. That's why I selected custom. Now click on OK. Just expand it like this. Additional details. Just check the order. Push button is also in the level 1. Okay, later the gender. Okay, fine. Dependent ID, name, gender, push button. Save it. You know, we are done. Try to open the page in the front end. What is this error? What might be the issue? A SQL error occurred. Please contact your system log for the details. What wrong you have done? Any guess?
So you removed the fields relation, what was that? Date of birth. And in the record, it is still there.
Hey, where? Record is, it is there. It should be
In
there,
the
right? Why?
dependent
Because,
table.
yes. Why? Because in the record it should store the data. Why? Because we placed the date of birth
Yeah,
in the secondary.
yeah, it is there, but then there's no place to enter the data on the page. We have not yet submitted
No, we
on
given
this
the provision to enter the data in the secondary.
secondary page. We
Mhm.
have? Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. Tell me, any other guess?
To save,
Mhm.
how will you save from the secondary page? How will it go to the table from the secondary page?
The main page save will save the information. That's it.
We'll save everything. Okay.
Mhm. In the entire process, we did one thing. We added a new field to the dependent table. Have we built it? No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Right.
That means whenever you added a structure, changed the structure of a record, you haven't built it, the type of error you received, that is called SQL error. That's why it is showing SQL error whenever we are trying to enter into the page. Search is working perfectly. Whenever we are trying to enter into the component, SQL error, that means the structure in the application designer is not fit with the structure you already in the database. Subhash, have you understood this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dependent table, simply build, alter the table, execute and build script, build it. Now, go to this. You successfully enter into the scenario. Here, for a dependent number 1, date of birth is there, relationship, child. Click on OK. Now, we added the details, but if you query the information, select star from PS dependent table, here observe carefully, for the first dependent, relationship is not there. Until and unless you clicked on the save. Once you clicked on the save, here you see the child. You modified something, you would like to modify something. Okay, go to the additional details. From child to grandchild, something. You click on OK. You click on OK. It will be updated? No, until and unless you clicked on save. Go to the additional details. Still it is showing the grandchild. Why? Because you accepted a transaction but you have not saved it. From grandchild to friend I am selecting. Cancel it. Then if I click on the additional details, what relationship it will show us? Child, grandchild or friend? So what?
Grandchild.
Absolutely. Why? Because the previous transaction you cancelled. As simple as that. This is called secondary page. Have you observed? Secondary page, most of the secondary pages are holding the non-required fields. And it will occupy, it will gives you the privilege to save the space on the main page. Like this. Now, we will go to the next functionality. Derived record. Yes, we understood now derived record. Derived record is using to place some push buttons or hyperlinks on the page. Now, prompt table. Here, go to this derived page again. In this page, if you observe, country is holding some pre-populated values. 256 values it's populated. 256 values it is populating. Then, how it is populating? Now, observe carefully. In this scenario, here I am giving JKL. We know there is no country. Have you observed? They are saying it's invalid value. It's saying invalid value. That means in that particular functionality, it's accepting only the values which are given in the list of 256. How they designed. Now coming to our page, our country, dependent country is there. Here I am giving GKL. Save it. It's accepting. Even in the database also, you can see it's a country JKL, but it is, we all of us know, it's not a valid country. But where you have to design to display only valid country information. Valid country information. This is called the PROM table, where we can give it. Open, where is the country? It's our sub-record. Country field, go to the Edits tab, Table Edit. PROM table edit, PROM table with no edit. Two options. PeopleSoft terminology. Edit means validation. We are editing. That means we are validating something. Here, PROM table edit. PROM table validation. That means only it will accept the entries given in the PROM table. What is PROM table? Nothing. It's a table in the database. If you query it, select star from PS country TBL. PS country TBL. 256 countries are there in the list. Now, I would like to define this country table as a PROM table for my transaction. As simple as that, PROM table edit country underscore TBL. Simply I given and click on OK. You know, we are done. Go to the page. Go to the online page and just check the country information now. Now it is showing the prompt. Look up country. 256 countries are there. You can check anyone. No, Venkat, still I will go with my wrong entry, A, B, C. There is no matching value. Try to save it. It won't allow you to save it. Invalid value. Press the prompt button or hyperlink for list of valid values. That means if you designed a country field with prompt table edit, it will allow only the listed values. Here. Now if I am giving USA, yes, United States of America, then save it. It will allow. If you are giving any wrong entry, it won't allow you. Now, one more type of edit is there. PROM table with no edit. PROM table always there to give you some suggestions, but no edit. That means you can enter your own values also. Observe carefully this transaction. Now, if I am giving this, try to save it. Now it will accept. Observe carefully, it's storing GGG, also a country. It is giving the PROM table suggestions, but at the same time, it is allowing you to add your own values. It allowing you to add your own values. Then I am asking you a question. Please listen carefully. I given a privilege to add my own value. The own value will be updated in the dependent table. Yes, we observed. This country value also inserted in the country table as a new entry?
No.
Subhash?
No, it won't.
Yes, you are right. That means no. Why? Because we are taking a suggestion from the country table here. That's it. We are not going to change anything in the country table. As simple as that. Very, very rare scenarios, we will use this prom table with no edit. That means sometimes, not in the countryside. Sometimes you would like to add your own value other than the suggestions given by the prom table. Then only you will choose the prom table with no edit. Otherwise, you will go with the prom table edit, 100%. Now,
So prom table with no edit means prom table with no validation, right?
no validation. That means
That's
prom table, it is giving you the results. You can enter your own value, which is not there in the results, set results. You can give, you have a privilege, but in the prom table edit, you can't. Got it? Now, one more functionality. Here, observe carefully. Whenever I'm giving ARG, Argentina, have you observed? Argentina. A clear description of the country it is displaying. Have you observed here? But in our scenario, there is no description. That is the functionality we will call it as display control field and related field functionality. Display control field and related field functionality. What are these? If you observe here, country is changing, the country is displaying the description. Now, if I am selecting Afghanistan, completely displaying. Not only for the country, for some other informations also, you have a scenarios like this. No, I think not here. Okay, let us say religion. Just say there is no religions. Here, whenever I select the ethnic group, it is displaying the white is the ethnic group. Whenever I'm selecting Asian, it's displaying Asian. In these two displays, which is controlling the display? This one is controlling the display, right? It's controlling the display of what? Display of this one. That's why we can call it as this as a display control field. It is controlling the display of some other field. This is related field. It completely depends upon one control field. Whenever the control field value is changed, it will be changed automatically. It will be changed automatically. Now, in our scenario, we have only display control field. Yes, sir. How we will design a related field? In our in our dependent table, if you observe, only country field is there. There is no description available in my dependent table, but the description is available in the country table. Venkat, you were right, but what you suggested us earlier, within a level, you can't display two records, that is two SQL tables. Why? Because dependent table is an SQL table, country table is an SQL table. How you will display? Understood your point. But you are going to display the country table description as a related to the dependent table country. We are not going to give any editable option for the description for a user. It's just a related display. First, what I will do in the page level, country, use tab, select display control field. Observe carefully, display control field. I selected. Insert edit box. Double click it. Which table holding the description? Country table. Description is the field. Yes. Go to the use tab. Make it as a related field. Whenever I selected a related field, make sure, observe carefully, display only will be selected, related control field will be opened. Open. is open. That means related field, display control field. Related field is controlled by this country field. Go to the label. I don't want any label for this field. Simply adjust into the country. Now go ahead and save it. If you look at the order, it will display country table, but it's a related field. This related field is completely controlled by field number 5. Field number 5 is the country. Field number 5. Now, observe carefully. Here, United States. Whenever I selected ARG, just try to save it. Yes, it's changed to Argentina. This is called display control field and related field functionality. If you open a delivered page, observe carefully. Okay, let us say open this page in the backend. This page in the backend. Where it is? Here, observe carefully. In this page, regulatory region, description. Ethnic group, description. Religion, description. Now, go to the order. Ethnic group. Ethnic group is a display control, and ethnic group description we are capturing from ethnic group table. It's a related one. Ethnic group description is a related field and it is controlled by the field number 5. Regulatory region description is a related field and it is controlled by field number 3. Here, it's a related field, it's controlled by field number 8. That means if you have multiple display control fields in your page, you have to choose manually which is your related control field. In our scenario, we have only one control field. That's why it is showing only one in the drop down. But here you have 4 control fields on the page. You have to choose which control field should display the description. Change the description size. Are we clear on this description? Display control field and related field combination?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why I'm showing you the delivered functionality. Now, if you open a delivered page, now you know it's a date field, it's a translate field, it's a push button, it's a secondary page, right? Next, it's a prompt option, it's a related field. That means what we are learning, how people have designed the pages, how people have implemented the functionality. Now, if you are getting a chance to change some pages in the people have delivered, you have to know first of all how they designed it. Now, if you open in the backend, now you came to know this is called sub page, and with the help of push button, we can call the secondary page. Now, next concept. In the delivered, have you observed USA whenever I'm changing? Whenever I'm tab out, it's displaying the result. But here observe carefully. In our scenario, USA, tab out, it's not changing. We saved it, it is changing. In delivered, they designed whenever I am tabbing out from the field, it should display the changed country description. But in our scenario, it's not. This is called processing mode. Processing mode. Two types of processing modes are there. Deferred processing mode and interactive. Deferred mode will hit the database or server only at the time of save. Interactive mode will hit the server after each and every field change. In our scenario, in our page, we are in the deferred mode. Where we can see this mode? In three places. Component level, page level, page field level. If you open the component, let us say open our component. Go to the component properties. In the internet tab, processing mode, interactive, deferred. It's deferred. If I change it from deferred to interactive in the component level, each and every field in the component will behave in interactive. That means each and every field tab out, it will hit the server. Then it will decrease the performance. That's why interactive mode is occasional. That means wherever you require, you will choose at that point. Okay, component processing mode should not be changed until and unless the requirement is like that. Open the page level. This is the page. Properties. If you unchecked the deferred processing, then system can understand, okay, it's an interactive. If you unchecked the deferred processing in the page level, each and every field in the page will behave in interactive. I am not expecting that. Why? Because again it may decrease the performance. One more level is page field level. Open the page. Here is my country. Double click it. Go to the use. Uncheck the deferred. For the country, uncheck the deferred. Click on OK. Only this field will behave in interactive now. Go to the process. Sorry, go to the page. Now, IND, India. Still I am in the field. Whenever I click on tab out, in this portion, my mouse cursor, observe my mouse cursor, very minor observation, very, very clear observation. A refresh will happen like this. A refresh. It's hit. Interactive mode hits the server and got the data and it's displaying India. One more time. Australia. I'm changing. Still I am in the field. Whenever I'm tabbing out, observe in this corner, a refresh will happen like that. It is hitting the server. If you design your entire page in interactive, whenever you have tab out from the field, it will hit the server. It will hit the server. It's not good point.
So, Venkat, so at this point, before saving, if you look at the table, for this employee, country will be AUS because it hit the server.
I'm not getting your question. Please repeat it.
So at this point, when you tab out and go to next field, and you haven't saved the page yet, but if we go to database and check the table, will the country be AUS?
It will check the relationship and it will display the description. It won't save in the database. Just it will display for you. Two different. Earlier also it's displaying the description, but at what point of time, once you saved it, at the time of save, it is hitting the server. Right.
Okay, so it's only for relation purpose.
Yes, absolutely. It will be stored in the buffer, not in the database.
Okay.
This is called processing mode. If anybody is asking how many processing modes are there in the PeopleSoft, two processing modes. Deferred mode, interactive mode. What is the difference? Deferred mode will hit the database, which the servers at the time of save. Interactive mode will hit the servers after each and every field tab out or field change. We will make interactive mode based on the requirement. Default mode is deferred. We can observe the processing mode. We can change the processing mode in three places. First preference is the page field level. Next preference is the page level. Next preference is the component level. Okay. Are we clear on this topic also? Subhash?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Geeta.
So Venkat, so when you said it's only for relational purpose, so I understand for the page field, but then page and component, that means we are showing relation for every field, description
Not
for every
page.
field.
Maybe you are validating something. At the time of tab out, you would like to validate. Let us say this is the city you are adding, right? Under this state. Got my point? Whenever you add, just imagine, we will write some people code on that. State, city combination, or whenever you added a state, whenever you are coming out of the state, you are checking the city. The city is available in the state or not? You entered a wrong city.
Okay.
Then
Got it.
you would like to prompt your user. You entered a wrong city. Please correct it. Got my point? Maybe based upon the city, he may added some other details at the bottom. Here itself you are correcting with respect to this. Might be, yes, there is a choice, right?
Yeah.
Scenarios may occur. Let us say it's a salary field. Your company minimum wages should be $1,500. Your HR by mistake added $500 in the salary field. Tab out. You can restrict him. Minimum wages should be $1,500. You added 500.
So when you give so when you give it at page level, that means all the fields on that page will be validated as soon as you tab.
If those fields are having any validations, any checks, it will perform. That means every field change, it will hit the server. It will hit the server, come back. It will hit the server, come back. You won't observe that much of performance issues for a single user. Thousands of users logged on at the same time. Yes, it is a possibility. Thousands of users using the same page at a time. Yes, it is a possibility. Then maybe performance occurs, right? Performance issue occurs. It will call a load test generally. It may. That's why better to choose which area you would like to make it as interactive. First, try to understood. Okay, page field. Okay, this is enough for me. Yes, done. My requirement is fulfilled. Then fine. No, Venkat, all the page fields are having such type of requirement. Then make it as a page. Don't go to each and every field interactive. No required. Number of pages are there in the component like this. Venkat, all the pages, all the fields should behave like that. Then fine, go to that component, change it. This is the way we will design. But very careful, if anybody is asking what is the processing mode in the component, we have two, deferred and interactive. It's clear?
Yeah.
Now, here observe carefully. Okay, let's try to add some heading on our page. Employee details. I'm saying heading. I don't want to say it in the database. Heading is a common static, right? Static. It won't change every time. That's why if you open your page, here is our space. Insert. Oh, okay, good. Observe carefully. There is an error. Employee page updated by another user. Sometimes your application designer may give you this type of error. Venkat, why it has happened? It's a cache issue, it's an app designer issue, whatever it may. Venkat, what we have to do? Simply close your page. You will lose some changes, what you did. Then open the page. Again, it will open. Insert static text. Static text. Simply a static text. Double click it. Text. Add the text. Like employee and dependent details. I'm changing a style to page title like this. Center text. Simply like this. It's a heading. As in the word, we will place some heading text. Insert a horizontal rule. It's also just a line. It's a separator. Now, simply go ahead and check the page in the front end. Have you observed? It's a static text. We can't change it. It's just a heading. It's a line separator. It's a line separator. Now, if you would like to add one more horizontal line here, yes, here you can add one more horizontal line. Here, I would like to display some instructional text. That's also called static text. Okay, add dependents. You can just minimize this horizontal line. Oh, here also text is there. Just write add dependents. Something like this. Now, you are giving some instructional text. Just try to go ahead and open it. Here, observe carefully. You can give some instructions to your user. In the bottom, you have to add dependents. All these are the static information. Venkat, whenever you are coming onto the page, how can I know what type of property? Simply double click it. It will show you static text. Double click on this. It will show you what type of property. Horizontal rule. Like that. It's very simple. You can ignore it. Now, as of now, we are displaying gender. Okay, I'm removing the comments from the page. Gender as a drop down. Here in the front end page, I am displaying the gender as a drop down till now. Here. Now my client is asking a question, Venkat, why don't we display gender as a radio button format? Why don't we display gender as a radio button format? Generally, radio button means all the options will open. You can choose one of the options. Yes, very simple it is. Remove. Next, insert radio button. It's a property of the page. It should be coming from the employee table, and gender is the property, sorry, field name, and male is the option. Okay, copy this push button, no problem. Copy and paste it. The same type of property. female, unknown. Okay, 3 options I added. Now go to the front end. Male, female, unknown. But what is this? My point is, what is this? What is male, female, unknown? We have to give a clear direction to the user. Select gender. We have to display proper text. I am selecting a group box. It's also a static property. It's just a box which will club the same functionality fields. Whenever I try to select a group box, it is asking record and field name. Are we storing anything behind the group box? No. No, not at all. As like as the push button, no, we are not storing behind anything in the group box. Then what we have to do? Yes, Venkat, we can do the derived record. Yes, absolutely. We have to create one more derived record? No, derived record is already there. You can add a new field and you can use it as a group box. Yes, you're right. Now, I don't want to go that. Open the field. I'm going to use the same field as a group box. I'm adding the label ID. Group box. Okay. My group box label is select gender. Now we are done. Venkat, how? Okay, no problem. Open the page. Add a group box. Insert group box. Double click the group box. EMP-WRK work record. Dependent button. Save it. But have you observed one thing? Group box we selected. It is showing additional details as the label. Why? Any guess, buddies? Why it is showing additional details as a label in the group box level also? Why? Because in the field level, we added 2 label IDs, but which is the default? Dependent button label ID is default. What is the long name of the default? Additional details. Venkat will do one thing. We will change it to select gender now, for now. Then open the page. In both places it's changed. Then Venkat, what is the use of the default label ID? The multiple label IDs. If I'm changing the default tag, it is changing the label in all of the places. Yes. But one default should be there. Then what about this one? How can I use this as a label? No problem. Go to the page. Double click the group box. Go to the label. Label ID, as of now using the default label ID. No, use the select gender label ID. Simple, we are done. Now go to the front end. Check it. Now it is clear message to the user. Gender. You can select. A clear message to the user, select gender in the group box. Now I'm going to show you how important is the order. Sometimes how order will play a crucial role. Now, one sec. Just I changed some order in the order tab. Now, observe carefully. I am changing the self gender option to male. Have you observed? What gone wrong? It is giving us a privilege to select two radio buttons. Gita, you understood this concept?
Yes.
Why? Why? Because the order is misplaced. How many radio buttons you are placing under one functionality? All the radio buttons in a continuous order. 7, 8, 9. Don't imagine this is the order. This is the order. 7, 8, 9. Better the group box also in the same order. Select gender, male, female, or unknown. Then only your radio button functionality will work properly.
Venkat, I did not understand in the dependent button properties you added.
This is the field, right?
Gender.
This is the field.
Yeah. Why did you add that group box there?
Okay. If you have not added the group box as a label ID, then generally what we will do, we will create a new field for the group box also. We will add that new field to the work record and we can use it. Am I right? Why?
Yeah.
It's not required. That my point is, it is not required. We can accommodate multiple fields in the single field, multiple label ID. But some scenarios it may not work. Why? Because let us say employee and name, we can't use it in a single field, right? Why? Because these two have different functionalities, two different displays. Am I right? Two different storage units. These two are. Got my point?
Yeah.
But these two are work record field. We can use the same one. If you are creating one more field, you are placing in a work record, and you can use it. Are we going to? Is it going to be any issue? No, Venkat, nothing. But just I introduced a new functionality to you. Maybe in delivered, you may see some of the fields are having multiple label IDs. Only to understood the scenario, I explained this multiple label ID concept and default checkbox. I promised you at the field level, we discussed with an example in the page, label ID and default, right?
Yeah.
In the very first session, second session. This is the radio button functionality we discussed just now. One more. In some of the, here, observe carefully, it's a checkbox. You can check it, uncheck it. Check means you are accepting, uncheck means you are not accepting. By checking, I understood, oh, okay, it's a full-time student. Uncheck, no full-time. Now, how people have designed this checkbox? Simple. We will create a checkbox. Okay. One character is enough, right, to checkbox? Y or N? That's it. Okay. Now, I'm checking the field is the employee is active or not. Active. GEE active, something like this. There is a field I created. Now I am adding a field to the employee table. Okay, active. Okay, but before moving into further, double click the active, go to the edits, table edit, from table edit, from table no edit we discussed. Yes or no table edit. Yes or no. That means it will check the entry of the field. It will accept only Y or N in the field. That's it. You double click the page, open the page, and if you are trying to display, okay, better to build it first. Build alter table. Now active. Just drag and drop. Have you observed it's a checkbox? Why? Because it will accept only yes or no. Got my point? Now simply it's a check. Employee ID is checked. Employee ID number 1 is checked. If you open the employee table, employee ID number 1 is now active in the system. I can understand like that. Then one more type of field edit I observed. One more type of field edit I observed, that is called, okay, sorry. Whenever I am selecting the SR no table edit, one more type of translate table edit. We discussed about these three. What is this translate table edit? Nothing, boss. Whichever the field is holding it translates, automatically system will select the translate table edit. We know we created the gender as a translate field. Double click it, translate table edit. We have not selected at that point. At the time, we are adding the gender to the record. But SR no table, you have to select manually. This is called checkbox functionality. You can place the checkbox like this on the page. Have you observed one thing? Biographical details, contact information, regional, organizational relationship. Every page has a meaningful label. But in our scenario, what it is showing? GEMP page. I would like to change it, Venkat. It's a meaningful information I'm expecting. Biographical details, something like that. Where we can do that? Not in the page level. Open the component. Here is the label of the item. Done. Biographical details, a meaningful label now. Have you understood?
Yes.
Any doubts, Subhash?
No.